ready? All right. Yeah. Okay. If we can click turn on. We good? All right. Thank you. All right. So this time we're gonna deal with what we call least squares regression line. So what is a least squares regression line? So the intention of this one, okay, is this one, okay? That linear equation y hat is equal to b1x plus b sub 0 or b naught in some cases. The intention of this least squares regression line or linear equation is to what? To minimize the sum of the squared residuals, right? So the equation looks like this. Minimize summation, right? That's the sigma of the residuals squared. You sum all of them, then that will be the linear equation that has a minimum squared residuals, right? Now, what do you mean by that, right? If you look in here visually, all right, and you can see in here what we mean by that, right? So in this linear equation, that line in black, that is what we call the least squares regression line. Now, the actual points are those in black, okay? Good, okay. So what do you mean by residuals? Residuals is basically the vertical difference, right, between the actual value, y value, and the linear value or the predicted value, right? So that's the actual and the predicted, right? Now, with that being said, if your residual is positive, that means your actual value is above the residual line, okay? However, if your actual value, right, is below the residual line, then that means the residual is negative. However, the thing is, even if it's positive or negative, if you square it, it's always going to be what? Like say negative 1. If you square negative 1, what's that going to be? 1. Positive 1, right? So no matter the sign of the residual is, if you square it, that's always going to be positive anyways. Now, if you get the sum of all of those square of residuals, the minimum that you can get will give you that line, right? So that's the intention of what we call the least squares regression linear equation. In short, it will be the nearest, right, line, okay, the line that is nearest the actual points, no matter whatever the points are, whether they are above or below. Are we good? Once again, simply because if the residual is positive, you square it, it's positive. If your residual is negative, you square it, it's still gonna be a positive, right? Are we good? Right. So anyway, what does that mean, right? So here it is. Y hat is the predicted response variable, okay? B1, okay? So this is not the actual, this is the predicted response variable. Value, right? B1 is basically the slope, right? It's gonna determine if we are having an increasing slope or a decreasing slope. And the formula for that is the following. B1 is equal to M. By the way, in a linear equation, M is the slope, right? But in here, we call it B1. In slope, it's also called rise over run, right? Is equal to what? The Pearson product moment correlation coefficient, your R, right? Okay. Notice your R in the past is what? If it's positive, that means it's a positive correlation, it's increasing, right? It can also be negative, right? If there's a significant negative correlation with respect to the critical value, right? And again, the critical value is dependent on the sample size, right? And you multiply that one to the ratio between what? What's this SY and SX? These are the what? Standard deviation sample, right? Standard deviation values of Y, the response variable, over X, the explanatory variable, right? So typically in here, you can get the mean and standard deviation of the sample values for X and Y anyways, okay? In some cases, if you are given SXY and SXX, then you can use those. But typically, SY over SX is the one that's given, and you multiply that one with what we call our response variable, okay? Oh, well, Pearson product moment correlation. And then, X in here, the explanatory variable, okay? And B sub 0 in here is what we call the Y-intercept. What is that? So graphically, B sub 0 is in here, right? Where it what? Hits the Y-axis, okay? Where the regression line hits the Y-axis, that's your B sub 0, right? y-intercept, that's the initial value of the response variable when the explanatory variable is 0, right? And what's the formula? So here's the formula. B sub 0 is equal to the mean of y, right, minus B1 x bar, which is B1, which is basically the slope that we got, and x bar is the mean of the explanatory variable. Okay, so those are our values for such B1x plus B sub 0. So anyway, we're going to use these formulas and this interpretation to solve for, let's talk about one problem in here about finance, right? What we call credit scores. Can you see your credit scores there on the values? All right. So these are our credit scores. Okay. Ready? Ready, guys. So let's analyze this one. So what is this? Let's go ahead and see this one. We have a data according to this one from our Pearson. Let's see where our Pearson is. If you go to our Pearson and see that data over there, here it is. That's FICO score, right? Okay. Let's go to our StatCrunch. Okay, click in here. That's chapter 4-2. What number is that again, the FICO score, guys?
18.
18? 18, thank you. Let's see. 4 to 18. Okay, so that's a credit score. That's a credit score and the interest rate. Okay, so what do we do with this? Well, it says in here first, okay, here we go. Find the least squares regression line, treating the FICO score, x as the explanatory variable, and the interest rate y as the response variable, right? Able to see that one, guys? Right? Able to see that one in there? So, what do we do? Let's use our StatCrunch first on how to do this one. Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. What we're gonna do, okay? First of all, let's go in here on this data set and 4.2.18. There we go, right? Okay. First, click on stat. Let's click on stat. Okay. After this, we are dealing with the regression, right? So after that stat, we're gonna click on the regression. Good, right? So after doing regression, we're gonna click what? Linear, right? Simple linear, right? Because these are just two variables, right? So again, stat, you go to regression, click on simple linear, right? And then after that, click on that one. Once again, what's our explanatory variable between these two? Which one is the explanatory variable? Is it the credit score or is it the interest rate?
Credit score.
The credit score, right? Okay, so the credit score is our explanatory variable, right? And the response variable is, well, whether your interest rate is gonna go up or down based from your credit score. Are we good? Get it? Okay, once again, x is the explanatory variable and y is the response variable. Are we good? Follow, guys, from your StatCrunch end. Now after that, what do we do? Okay, here, it says if you want the least squares regression line drawn on the scatter diagram, you can highlight fitted line plot under graphs, right? So you look at under graphs. Okay, and as you may notice in here, we already have the fitted line plot. Okay, there we go. You can put in here as well the x-axis label. What is our x-axis label once again? That's the credit score. Got it? Okay. And the y-axis is the what? Interest rate. Thank you. Interest rate. So just to be clear what we are having in here, and this is what? This is a regression line, right? Between credit score and interest rate, right? So it's better to like put some explanation or title what we are working on, so that it's clear for us what we are looking into, right? And here it is, okay? So are we good? So you can see in here now what our R is. What is the correlation coefficient? If we look in here, what is the correlation coefficient between what's that, credit score and interest rate? What do you notice? R, or the correlation coefficient, is what? Negative 0.975. All right. So what can you say about the correlation coefficient? Guys, is it a positive correlation or a negative correlation?
Negative.
Is it strong or weak or no correlation at all?
Strong. Negative.
Very strong. Negative 0.976, right? So very strong correlation. Almost perfect negative correlation, right? Okay, so let's put in here. Your R, Pearson product moment correlation, is the following. Negative 0.976 if you approximate it to 3 decimal places. Be good? So we are assuming in here, therefore, that what? As your credit score increases, what's happening to the interest rate that you are you will be given?
Going down.
Going down, definitely. Are we good? Right. Linearly. All right. Again, we are assuming that this is a linear type of relationship. Now, in here, what can you see as your intercept? Look at the intercept, guys. What's the intercept that we got? 61.36874. So in here, where's that intercept? That's your B sub 0. Are we good? Right? So whatever the intercept in here is, let's put that one in here. B sub 0 is approximately equal to what? 61.37. Are we good? Right? Okay. That is what? That is the value of the what? The initial value of the response variable, right? So in short, that is what? Is it the interest rate or is it the credit score? 61.37. Guys, what's that 61.37? Is it the interest rate or the credit score? Why?
The interest rate.
Very good, right? So this is the interest rate when your credit score is what?
Negative.
0, right? Are we good? Got it? Right. Are we good, guys? Right? So in short, if you don't have a history or credit score to start with, you're going to be set for what? 61.37% interest rate. Okay? Really high. Right? Are we good? That's why you build up your credit score. Are we good? Right? Questions regarding that one, guys? Our next one. What is this slope, by the way? What slope is what in here? Negative what? 0.076. Thank you. So that is our what in there? B1, right? So B1 is what? Negative 0.076, right? Yeah. So is that what? Positive or negative? Well, it says negative, right? So what does it mean?
Goes down.
Goes down, right? Okay. So we can say in here, so when you say that negative 0.076, so we can say that what? If you move it what? 1, 2, right? Yeah. 2 decimal places to the right, okay? 2 decimal places to the right, so that means what?
7.6.
7.6, right? So negative 7.6, what does it mean? Y. Your Y is interest rate, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Since I multiply this one by 100, right? Negative 0.076, what does it mean? If I multiply it by 100, that's negative 7.6. What does it mean? That the interest rate is decreasing by how much? 7.6%. For every one, increase of how much? 100 points on that credit score. Are we good? Right? So every 100 points increase on the credit score, how much interest rate is lessening to you guys? 7.6%. Is it a big deal? Well, it depends on the purchase that you're having, right? If you're gonna use the credit score for an iPhone or a Samsung phone, which costs like, I would say, $1,000, $1,200, that's not that much, right? But if you're talking about what? A car loan, right? A business loan, or yeah, that's gonna be a lot, right? So it still depends on the purchase that you're having, but that's a pretty significant, less on your money if you're talking about interest rate, especially if you're dealing with big purchases. Are we good? Right. But again, if you're dealing with a phone or what else, an iPad or maybe a trip to Bahamas or something, right? So maybe it's not too much of a deal, but again, for cars, for homes, for businesses, personal loans, it might be too significant. Are we good, guys? Get it? Get it, guys? Okay, so here, did you get that? Okay, so Mr. Deal, we are always dealing with what in here? With what you call this? Graphs. With values, right? Where's the graph? So if you click on the right, okay. So if you click on right in there, you're gonna see in here already what equation we are dealing with, right? So this is the equation. Oops. So I click on erase, I click on that, so this should erase, right? Okay. So as you may notice, that is your actual linear equation, all right? So as you may notice in here, if you see that one in there, right? Okay, and that will be our value for such. Are we good, guys? Questions, questions, questions? All right, so with that being said, let us continue now what we got in here, right? So let's see, what is our answer again for this value, okay? Okay, there we go, right? So again, our linear equation is as follows, right? What do we say? Y hat, okay, here we go. Y hat, all right, is equal to, what's your B1 again? B1 is this one, right? Negative 0.0764, right? Which is what we got in here, right? Negative 0.0764x, go. That's the explanatory variable, plus, now in here, that's the y-intercept, that's how much? 61.37. Well, actually in here, it says, I think it says 4 decimal places, that's what it says. So that's 3687 for such, right? So let me just be specific in here, consistent with the rounding of 61.3687. By the way, what I did a while ago is just basically 3 decimal places or 2 decimal places, but again, look into the how much it needs to be rounded off, right? It looks like in here, 4 decimal places. Good. So again, what does it mean? This one means what? It's decreasing by 7.6% interest rate per 100 credit score increase, right? Per 100 credit score increase, right? This one also implies that what? That if you have 0 credit score, then your interest rate will be how much? 61.3687 interest rate. Are we good with that? Got it, guys? Questions? That's a lot, 61.36%. And typically, if you do payments, well, you're good if it's just like what? 1 year payment, right? What if it's 2 years? Well, if it's 61 in 2 years, that's gonna be what? 120, what? 122%. Well, you already paid for what? More than double of the price of what you actually are purchasing. So, you know, it doubles, it triples depending on how many years of payments you are dealing with. Example for what? For car. What is a typical car payment? 3 years to 5 years. Minimum is 3 years. So imagine tripling this, 61 times 3. You're paying how much? Almost double the price of the car that you actually purchased in the first place 3 years ago. And how much that value of that car had decreased after you have purchased that one, right? So, you know, there's gonna be a balance of like, how do we do this financing thing? And is it gonna be good for us in the long run? And how many, you know, car payments are we dealing with? And how much interest rate is gonna, you know, be burden for us? Are we good, guys? So, you know, think about those cases, right? Especially with money. Get it? Okay. Anyway, going back in here, letter B. Let's read this letter B and see how we can work on that one, okay? Sydney, let's read the letter B. Interpret
the slope
White.
and the intercept and appropriate credit scores have a range of 3 to 850.
Okay, so again, it says in here, note credit scores have a range of 300 to 850. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put this one in Desmos. Okay, our Desmos calculator, plugging it in here as follows. Once again, what's that? Y equals what? What did we get? Negative 0.0764 x plus, what's that again? 61 point, what's that again? 3687. Thank you. 3687. Now let's verify where that one is. It says the credit score goes from where to where in terms of the range. What's the range of credit score, guys? It says 300 to what? 300 to 850. So credit score is what? X, right? So you see this X in here. Make it from where? Again, 300 to 850. Get it? Okay. You know the y-axis, that's your interest rate. And what's your interest rate? Well, it goes from 0 to 100% interest rate, right? Well, hopefully not 100% interest rate. So basically you're paying double already, right? But anyway, just giving an idea on how it looks like. Are we good, guys? Right? Okay. So this is it, right? Did I put it in right? Y equals negative 0.0764x plus 61.3687. I went here on the graph settings, and it says there, since the credit score X is from 300 to 650, bless you, I changed this one. Oh, well, 300 to 850 or 650? 850. All right, so I'm correct in there, okay? And my y-axis is percentage in interest rate, so definitely, what's the lowest percentage? 0, right? And what's the highest percentage? 100. Are we good, guys? Right? That's why we click on the graph settings to visualize it clearly. Because otherwise, if you just zoom in and out, you might not be seeing the big picture. Get it? Okay. Now, what do we see in here? Okay, so here it is. At x equals 350, and at x equals, what's that again? 800, did it say 800? 850.
It was
300 and 850, sorry. 300 and 850, all right, there we go. Okay, what do we notice with this pricing in here, right? Okay, so what do you notice? At a credit score of 300, that's the minimum credit score, what's the interest rate? 38.4% interest rate. More than a third of that whatever you're purchasing, right? That's the interest already. In short, you are paying RAD. 1 and more than 1/3 of that, whatever it is that you're getting a loan for, right? In 2 years, that's gonna be what? We'll double that, right? What's that? 70 what? 60, 77%. Imagine, that's big, right? In 2 years. In 3 years, forget it, right? You might as well get double whatever you're purchasing for. Are we good? Right? However, if you're 850 credit score, what do you notice? You basically are not, you're just basically paying it at what? A 0% interest. Are we good? Right? Okay. Yeah. Because basically when you say negative 3.571, it doesn't make sense, but definitely the bank is not gonna pay you, you know, just to give, just for them to, you know, give you a loan. But you know, that only means that at least it's a 0% interest rate. If, again, your credit score is what? 850. Anyone in here who has a credit score? Maybe I can talk to you and, you know, do something about that, right? Oh, are we good? Right? But yeah, I mean, those credit scores actually does help with your what? Financial health. Are we good? Right? Especially with purchasing. Anyway, going back. What's the next question? Okay. Letter C. Let's read letter C for this one. Tiff, let's go ahead and read letter C. Predict.
Predict the interest rate a person will pay if her FICO score was the median score of 723.
Thank you. All right. So, what is that 723? That's the FICO score, right? That's the credit score, right? So that means that is your what? That is your X value, 723. Are we good? Right? So, what do? Well, we're going to predict that one and put it in here. You see this y equals negative, this equation, our linear regression equation. I'm going to put it in here. And you see that x, I'm going to put it in parentheses and put the value. What's the FICO score value a while ago it says? On the problem? Huh? 723. So if your FICO score is 723, what will be the interest rate given to you by the bank? Just 6.13%, right? It's still pretty high because honestly for a car loan, I think right now it's like what?
5 years.
I think 5% to, well, this is a little bit, maybe 1% above, but basically right now I think it's 5%. APY, that's annual percentage rate, right, per year, 5%. But the 6%, well, at least you're 1% interest rate higher or above. But I mean, that's a pretty good interest rate already, right? But definitely, there's gonna be something, a credit score that will be lower than that. But yeah, not too bad. Are we good, guys? Right, so again, if your FICO score is 723, then you can get a loan with an interest rate of 6.13%. Are we good? Got it, guys? Right. In short, what can you give me a car value right now? Like a car brand, and what is its median value right now? Anyone?
The Toyota Corolla.
Toyota Corolla right now is how much?
Like 22,000.
20,000 for a Toyota Corolla, right? Okay. Now, what's your interest rate? 1 plus, okay, this one, right? 0.06, right? 13, right? Okay. So that's what? The price of the Toyota Corolla and 6% interest, right? So in 1 year, how much are you paying? All right. 21,226. For a what? For a 20,000 Toyota Corolla, in 1 year, you will be paying how much? 21,226. So in short, you actually have paid an interest of how much? 1,226 in that year. Not that bad, not that bad, right? But I mean, yeah, right? Okay, so are we good? Right? Again, that's just for 1 year. If you can pay it in 1 year. But typically for a car loan, it's like what? 3 to 5 years. So what do you do with that? Well, you basically almost what? It's exponential, but in essence, you think of what? Doubling, tripling it, right? Or making it 5 times for, a 3 to 5 year interest rate. Are we good? Right? Because again, that is just for what? This is just for 1 year. Annual. Well, think about the yearly payments. I mean, the monthly payments, how many years you're going to do that, okay? And then that will be the factor, all right? Okay, that's what we call what? Prediction, right? Now here, there are 2 types of prediction. In this case, we see our credit score to be what? 723, right? Look at the 723. Is the 723 within this data set? 723 is below 750, the highest in here, and above 545, right? So that means 723 is within this data set. With that being said, there's a term for that. It's called what? Interpolation, right? When you say interpolation, you are seeing values or values that is what? Within the data set itself. Again, it's called what? Interpolation. Interpolate. Because you are looking into scores or a score that is within this frame. Okay? Right. However, if you are predicting, meaning you are looking at scores or at values beyond, right? Beyond the range or the coverage of these values, then that's what you call the extrapolation. You extrapolate, right? If it's beyond the data set. Are we good? Right? So in here for letter C, what we just did a while ago is interpolation, right? Why? Once again, because this is within the frame of the data points, right? Anyway, let's read letter D, the last question for this. Trey, go ahead. Suppose Bob
has a FICO score of 680. He is offered an interest rate of 8.3%. Is this a good offer? Why?
Thank you, right? So you see that 680, we're gonna put that one on this X once again, right? We good? And see if it's lower or higher than that 8.3 offered by the bank. Are we good? All right, so let's see. 680. So a while ago, we did this one at 723. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna copy this once again, put this back in here, and put in here as what? 680, right? So 680, right? So, according to this one, he should have been offered how much? An interest rate of how much? 9.42%, right? 9.42%. But that bank had been what? Has the bank been generous, balanced, or too tight with the interest rate? He offered how much of an interest rate? The bank? 8.3%. So we say that the bank's offer is what? Lower, better than this, right? So we can say that what? Going back,
Good offer.
it's a good offer, right? Good, because yeah, very good. That's a good offer, right? Because honestly, a while ago, it's more than 9%, but the bank is offering him what? 8.3%. So yes, he's getting a good deal in terms of interest rate. Because honestly, with his credit score, he should have been offered like a what? 9.4 or something? 9.4. But this is 8.3%. So he got a better deal of how much? 1.1% interest rate below what he should be offered. So yes, should he take it? Well, I guess he should, right? Yes, right? That's a pretty good offer. A 1.1% interest rate better than what he should be offered. Are we good with what we did with this, right? So that's one of the good things or advantages of this one in here. You can, and that's the goal of this one, you can predict. You can have an assumption of what's a better deal, or are you on the losing end on that negotiation. Are we good, guys? All right. So any questions? Yeah. So we can pause that one for a